Okay, we're good on light. We're good on everything. Time for some action. Time. All right. So, welcome. I am Zoe Flowers. Thank you so much for coming back. If you've been here before, for visiting for the first time, if this is your first time on my channel, we are to our women's history of so many cards to go. So obviously this is Sheriff Shipman's deck and book. So one, no, yes. Okay. Very interesting. We have the High Priestess today. All right. So we actually have literally opened right up to it. Holy Roman, Holy Roman Empire, 1011. It says disconnection, unearned, and fear of the unknown. All right, we are going to see. So normally the High Priestess has to do with using your intuition. So you see all of these eyes here. And then it's interesting. You see all other empires have who I imagine is these things. I guess they are maybe gold, jewels. This shadow, what's known and what's unknown. So in this particular, and then obviously that will be coming down and it mystical visions throughout her life. Exactly. So there it is again, getting them downloads. She was channeling. In Vitae Sanctae Hildegardis, Life of Saint Hildegard, ca. 1180, a biographical collection of her writing and compiled by medieval monks, Hildegard stated that she experienced these visions from the age of 3. She was also frequently ill as a child. Okay, so now we're back to the illness. So we had a couple of days where the women in this book did not have any illnesses, any major things that took them out. But now here we are back at these struggles. In Hildegard of Bingen, a woman of her age, so lots of people wrote about her apparently. Fiona Maddox writes that Hildegard's visions and sickliness predate her arrival at the monastery, Dissibondenberg, and might have persuaded her parents that their decision to tithe her to God was more than appropriate. At around age 8, she was put in the care of a young woman named Jutta, with whom she took vows to become a nun 6 years later in 1112. Jutta became her teacher and confidant. It would be with Jutta that Hildegard first shared details of her visions. This is interesting. So she was sickly as a child and she had visions. And so her parents sent her away to tithe her to God. I don't know. Maybe I'm here for that. I mean, it was 11, like 1098. Um, and so perhaps they didn't know what else to do. She was sickly. She's been having visions since she was 3 years old. So who knows how that played out? Like was she having fits? Was she having rages? Did they feel like she was possessed? And so, in a way to protect her, they sent her away. After learning to read and write from Jutta's instruction, Hildegard educated herself in other areas by learning simple musical notation, working in the garden, and tending to the sick. Yeah, I don't know what she's standing on. This is the larger photo. I don't know what that is. I don't know if there's like shells. I don't know what that is. It was during this time that she became increasingly insightful about her study of scripture. At the age of 24, she had a vision, which she later described in her Vita. I saw an extremely strong, sparkling, fiery light coming from the open heavens. It pierced my brain my heart and my breast, and through like a flame which did not burn, however, it warmed me. And suddenly I had an insight into the meaning and interpretation of the Psalter, the Gospel, and other Catholic writings of the Old and New Testament. Oh, I love that. I want that. Hildegard earned the respect of her fellow nuns and was elected their magistra after Judah died in 1136. Not wanting to be under the authority of her local abbot as a prioress, Hildegard sought permission from her male superior to move her community of nuns to nearby Rupertsburg to establish a more independent convent. Oh, so the men was too, okay, so she wanted to move away from the men so she could do what she wanted to do. Only then, at first she was denied, but Hildegard did not relent. In approximately 1150, she came down with a mysterious illness that paralyzed her, leaving her unable to move from her bed. She and her male superiors regarded her ailment as a sign from God that her wish to establish at the convent was right. Only then did she recover from her illness and was able to establish her convent with approximately 20 other nuns. In her theological text, Svivius, Know the Ways, Hildegard wrote that while she had frequent visions from childhood, she did not record them. I saw all this and then I refused to write, she confessed, not out of stubbornness, but out of a sense of my inability for fear of the skepticism of others, the shrugging of shoulders, and the manifold of gossip of mankind, until God's scourge threw me on a bed of illness. There, finally, overcome by much suffering, I set my hand to write. The accounts of her visions, which she experienced through sight, touch, and sound, detail religious concepts and stories about creation, the structure of the cosmos, and God's relationship to human beings throughout history. Okay, this is very interesting. I've got to, because this thing about God, literally, I was going to call this God is real before I even pulled the card. Because I was doing a meditation this morning, and I won't give you all the details. Some of them you can find in my book, From Ashes to Angels Dust, A Journey Through Womanhood, available on Amazon and Balboa Press. And I would suggest, if you have a local Black-owned bookstore in your area that you would like to order it from, that you could connect with them and see if they can get the book for you. Anyway, so I'm in my meditation, but more than getting in my meditation, I went into my body because I was asking about next steps. And I got the Emperor card, the World reversed, and the Four of Cups. And here's the Emperor. I got my new Tazama deck. This deck is incredible. So I got the Emperor, and then I got the World reversed and the Four of Cups. So when I saw this, I was like, yeah, this denotes hard work, discipline, the question that I ask about. And the World reversed has to do with things kind of standing still. And then the Four of Cups is, in this deck, it says, are you being, what did it say? Are you being contemplative, or are you just being ungrateful? So that set me on this thing about, and this is also a card of like, what do you really want? So I went into this thing about, what do I really want? And what came up, and it made me actually cry, was love. And all I've ever wanted was love, not love, but to feel love, to feel loved. And like I said, for various different reasons, I haven't felt that. So then my aunt, who passed last year, came to me. She passed on New Year's Day last year and apologized for not being there for me. And some of my other ancestors came through as well with an apology. And they've done that over the years. However, my aunt came through And I heard her voice, and it was like, niece, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I've got your back. I'm not going to say everything she said, but what she said was, I got your back and your front. I got you. And it just made me weep even more just to hear. And I could hear her voice, I could see her face, and she always called me niece. And she was just like, niece, I got you. I got you. I got you. And of course, the Western mind, even though I do all this stuff, the Western mind is like, was it really her? Like, is this real? You know? But it felt amazing, right? I came out of my meditation so grateful. I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm just again just like contemplating, like, wow, the nature of that. Like, thank you for coming through. Was that really real? The phone rings. I'm like, okay. My mother's phone, not my phone, my mother's phone. I go to answer the phone. It was the Jehovah Witnesses saying, we usually come around, because they usually come around here. My mother talks to them. They give her the awake book and all this stuff. They're like, we're just calling because of everything that's happening in the world today. We just want people to know they're not alone. And then, but the book that they were talking about was diseases and this and that and the other thing. So they're like, we can't come around because of coronavirus, da 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 da. But basically, they're like, a lot of the answers that you're looking for what's happening today can be found in the Bible, blah, 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 blah. Now, I am a Bible girl, even though I do not even though I do all of this work, but I am a Bible girl. I grew up going to church. My parents didn't even go to church. I would take the bus to the church in the next town. So wherever I've lived, I've always found the church. I've always gone to church. And then it just gets kind of hard because of the sexism and, just the different ideologies and things like that. So, but I always do at least go. So the man, he said a couple times the answers that we're looking for can be found in the Bible. So I got off the phone with him. I was like, wow, God is real. God is real. Period. God, goddess, terminology. The energy of the universe is real. Protection it's real. Like, I had a whole Hildegard moment. Like, I had a whole spiritual moment, and then the phone rings and it's people representing God. So then, like I said, I'm a Bible girl. This is my grandparents' house. This is my grandparents' room. There's like a million Bibles everywhere. So I just grabbed this Bible. It's not my favorite. However, it's on my altar. But because of the wording, I don't always understand the wording. But I went and I got it. And I just opened it randomly to Corinthians. And it says, for he hath put all things under his feet. But when he saith all things are put under him, it is manifest that he is accepted, which did not put all things under him. And when all things shall be subdued unto him, then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him that put all things under him, that God may be all in all. So for me, it's the God may be all in all. So then to come and just randomly pull cards and to have the High Priestess card in reverse show up, and to have this woman who had the same sort of experience that I just had. God is real. Back to Hildegard. So vividly was she able to describe what she saw that artists could illuminate her manuscripts. The art resulted in is unique for its time and a testament to the significance of her visions, whether they were divinely inspired or expressions of her highly original creative powers. Right, because that's the thing. I'm like, is this my imagination, spirit? And then the phone rings. I'll never forget that. 4/24/21. I'm going to put that in this book right here. 4/24/21. 21. I've been getting messages to mark certain dates. Like after I do a certain ritual, after I do a certain affirmation, after I pull a certain card, Spirit will give me the instruction to mark that date, I guess, so I can see how I can come back and see how things manifested. So so you're seeing this in real time. So, yeah. Okay, so it's marked. The theology that Hildegard detailed in Scivias is also manifested in her musical work, Ordo Virtuum. The 82 songs play out a Christian story of sin, repentance, and forgiveness. Her writings that dealt with medicine are less connected to her visionary experience than to the practical skills she gained during her time managing her convent herbal garden and tending to the sick. She wrote 2 volumes detailing her scientific knowledge, Physica, which describes the medicinal properties of many plants and animals, and Causae et Curae, causes and cures, an exploration of the human anatomy and symptoms and cures of various ailments, just like the phone call I got after my meditation with my aunt this morning. That's what they were calling about. Causes of disease and cures that could be found in the Bible. This is crazy. Mysteriously, Hildegard felt divinely inspired. Hildegard is going on my altar. Hildegard is going on my altar. This coming up in reverse, though, is interesting. So it's like, hey, girl, course correction. You have not seen your divinity. You've been getting the messages and not taking heed. That's what I'm taking this as. And also, Spirit told me to follow my intuition too. Spirit told me to follow my intuition as well. Yeah. Okay. And so here's the high priestess. And so for me, this question is, and we'll see what the book's questions are, but in what areas are you not following your intuition? I was so consumed with the things that happened to me and the way those things made me feel about myself that I I've not been able to feel loved. I have not. I'm sure people love me, but my trauma has had me being the high priestess, even with all the things I've accomplished, like blah, 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 all those things, but not feeling loved throughout any of it, not being able to feel it. So I've been the high priestess in reverse. I've been able to feel the love of the creator, you know, the breeze that's coming in now, the birds chirping, the green grass. I've been able to feel that, but I haven't been able to feel love from 2-legged beings. Like I feel love for my cat, but allowing human love to penetrate, like she says, my eyes, my heart. No, no, absolutely not. That is one of the things that trauma does. And so around finally inspired to invent. No one had been able to guard, felt moved to invent her own. Is out there probably. Listen, I'm finna do that. It's me. I don't know. Everything's not for everybody's eyes. Maybe it's just between her and God. Or to ascertain whether her nuns or anyone else shared her secret with her. Maddox writes, frustratingly little is known about it. Hildegard of Bingen's life and work was a result of her strong connection to the spiritual realm. See, it's one thing to be connected to the spiritual realm. It's another thing to let it take over. I'm hearing Shantae Moore. Now that love's taken over you, what will you do now? So that's the call, isn't it? It's not enough just to be connected to spirit. We got to let spirit take over. We got to trust it more than our trauma. We have to trust spirit more than our trauma. It was necessary for her to maintain this connection because when she stopped herself from expressing her vision and knowledge she gained from them, she became physically ill. Now, see, this is also interesting. So, I have been feeling dizzy, pains in my chest. I've had scans of my chest. And when I was in my meditation, there's a lot of confirmation here. I had the sense that it was spiritually connected. The High Priestess is a card of mystical experiences and secret knowledge. If you have a religious or spiritual practice of any kind, this card invites you to explore its origins. Oh, word? And further examine its place in your daily life. This is so on point. Like, I got up this morning, I did a little bit of yoga. I've been doing it like a couple days. And I was like, damn, I was really doing yoga. Like, I started doing yoga in 2000. I shouldn't say before people. I'm just saying before it became like mass the way it is now. Certainly with, folks of color. Like, I was the only fly in the buttermilk in those yoga classes. And those white people would look at me like, what are you doing here? It was very interesting. And so when I was just stretching and I was so tight this morning, I was like, why don't you do this consistently? This card's appearance in your reading indicates the presence of an expansive imagination and subconscious. If you feel disconnected from your imaginary world, experiment with different activities to tap into your intuition. There's that intuition. Create art, read a fantasy novel, or play a game. When you go to sleep, be open to receiving insight from your dreams. That goes back to my dream work. What is the nature of our spiritual life? That's one of the things I always ask my students. If I'm doing tarot readings, what is the nature? What is the quality of your spiritual life? The invitation from your conscious mind to your subconscious might be answered with inspiration that you can apply to your waking life and spiritual practice. Have you gained insight from your dreams? How does your subconscious mind and intuitive nature play into your life? If you believe in it, how can you foster a deeper connection to the spiritual realm? There you go. Well, I've heard enough. That was amazing. It was everything I needed to hear. It was everything I needed to hear. The message is letting the spirit take over in a real way. And there's a horn. Like, I'll take that as confirmation that it is time to allow spirit to take over. And that is all I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. Drop down in the comments and let me know that you care. Let me know if this resonates, and I'll see you next time. And if nobody told you, you are loved, you are worthy of love, and so am I. I'll see you next time.